Gather ye round, spoppers and spoppettes.
Welcome to the Third Wind channel and the review for iReunited and It Felt Okay. In this episode, we get to see Carly and Freddie go to their high school reunion and Spencer reveals something big, or more like 11 little things. Let's talk about it. We start with Carly and Freddie getting ready to enter their 10-year high school reunion, and the first thing I immediately noticed were they were in the Ridgeway hallway, and I wanted to compare it to the hallway we saw 10 years ago in the original iCarly, and I was surprised at what I found. They did a stellar job. The floor is right, the walls, the locker color, poster placements, and the only thing that's changed, they changed out the locker design. I love the attention to detail like this. Back to Freddie and Carly, they are here as a couple, and Freddie is wondering why Carly is wearing a mortarboard. And that's where we get an explanation from Carly about the consequences of her leaving Ridgeway High for Italy. She explains that she wasn't there for most of senior year, so she was there for some of it. She goes on to say that she graduated remotely and missed out on some great milestones like the prom and the graduation photo, which she now states is her goal for showing up here. She wants to be in that reunion photo. Enter the gym, where the reunion is taking place. Looking around, we see Bulldog logos, which is the mascot for Ridgeway High, and even the little cupcakes have it, and there's themed balloons and such little fun details. Carly tells Freddie that she associates the gym with smelly feet and off-brand sports drinks, and also implies that she would often fake periods to get off gym class. While Carly is excited to get that class photo, Freddie is excited to reconnect with his old friends, and explains to Carly that when Carly and Sam took off, he became somewhat of a social butterfly, perhaps even the most popular guy in school, and Carly scoffs at that comment, as her interpretation of Freddie in school was that he was the unpopular geek, probably. That's when Ripoff Rodney walks up to the two of them, quoting Freddie as the coolest kid in the grade. Carly is caught off guard, thinking Freddie paid Rodney to say that. Ripoff Rodney is a mega deep cut from the character database of iCarly. He appeared in 2 episodes in the original season 1, and that's it. He was the school dealer, but he barely remembers Carly, and then soon after we get an important line from him. He says, quote, "Anything before senior year is irrelevant," and then we cut to the theme song. We got some pretty strong setup here. There will be opposite of expectation reactions from the class of 2013 when meeting Carly and Freddie. All of a sudden, Freddie is the popular kid that everyone remembers, and Carly is not in the loop. Reminds me of 21 Jump Street just a little bit. Continuing, we see some trophies here, and apparently Ridgeway had some sports teams, including apparently football, which makes me think these two in the original episode I Like Jake, with their varsity jackets, had something to do with this. Here, now out of the blue, Magic Malika appears in the same fashion as she did in the original, supernaturally, but this time, Gibby didn't randomly appear. Very, very unfortunate. It becomes clear that Malika and Freddie spent a lot of time together in senior year, and Carly tries to gel, but to no avail. The heat keeps on coming as Freddie then meets his pals from the train club, Toby and Barry, and once again, Carly just doesn't gel with them, and her joke about janitor Mike is just a mood killer as he had passed away in senior year while she was gone. It's hard to watch because with all these Freddie's friends, she's trying to join the conversation with good effort, but no one seems to want to get her involved. We'll go back to Carly's struggles, but now we're going to get into the subplot of this episode, and this is a big one. Brace yourselves. Spencer is hosting a day for his spoopers and spoopettes, and you might be asking right now, what in the world does that mean? Well, all of these kids we see here are Spencer's biological kids. Shay, what? Over the years, Spencer has been donating to the sperm bank, and he has formed a connection with his apparent offspring. He's like their messiah. And I had totally forgotten, but in I Go Public, when he thought he was going to die from the possum, he says, "Tell my 10 kids I love them." I didn't think much of it because it made no sense, but here we are. It was purposeful after all. He's just kept it secret for all these years. A lot to process there, but he has brought them all together again to see them and participate in his new sculpture, the Mount Spensemore, a true celebration of Spencer. What he didn't account for is that he doesn't have 10 kids, he has 11, and this 11th kid quickly becomes his favorite, and her name is Potter. She eats spaghetti tacos and randomly sets things on fire. Spencer is amazed. The fire thing came to light when she accidentally set fire to the Mount Spensemore, causing all the other kids except Potter to leave. Then we get an explanation for the 11th kid. Potter's mother worked as a nurse at the sperm bank and she stole one of his donations. It ends with Potter and Spencer bonding and Spencer asks her mom out for drinks. What a subplot. I'm going to need like a week to soak that in. Now back to Ridgeway High. While Freddie is hanging out with his old buds, Carly is lounging at the snack table wondering if there's anyone here who actually wants to see her. And then someone does walk up to her, but it happens to be someone who she'd rather avoid. Shane. The reason she wants to avoid him is because she's partly responsible for landing him in a hospital and almost killing him back in season 2 of the original show. So it's awkward for her to talk to him. But their conversation is inevitable and they immediately talk about the elevator incident, but he also reveals that those months of being in a full body cast helped him realize what he wanted to do in life. Be a PE teacher, to which Carly basically laughs at, and Shane is the PE teacher at Ridgeway High, and she just continues to indirectly insult him and his passion, and he walks away. Then we meet one of my absolute favorites from the original, Principal Franklin, the former principal of Ridgeway High. Nowadays, he's retired, but he comes to these reunions for free drinks and to vibe. But Carly exclaims that she's excited that he'll be in the reunion picture with her. But that's when he reveals to Carly that she won't be in the picture because she never graduated. Plot twist. Franklin explains that she never technically graduated because he found out after she left that she didn't pass or didn't have enough credits for her PE class, and they were unable to communicate with her school in Italy since Spencer gave them a joke address. Although Franklin does reveal that if she can get Shane to pass her since he's the PE teacher, then she can graduate and be in the picture. Carly regains hope, but is immediately shot down by Shane, who has been taking his job pretty seriously, and tells Carly that the only way that she will be participating in this photo is if she passes the Lance Armstrong test. She tries and she fails and Shane doesn't pass her. When time comes to take the picture, Carly is left behind the camera as the one taking it. And she's about to take the picture, but then Shane out of nowhere is in danger at a suspended height and he's been stung by a wasp, which he's allergic to. She is determined to save him as she sprints for the EpiPen, climbs the rope, and reaches far and wide to eventually save him, and in the process, she also passed the fitness test. Shane signs the papers she needs for the PE credits and then is wheeled away to the hospital. Carly then gets to be in the photo and she even gets to sit next to Principal Franklin, who happens to lift his drink right when they take the photo, and he does so just enough to entirely block Carly's face. Brilliant. This is the moment which got the biggest laugh out of me in this episode. It was a joke that took the whole episode to pay off, and I love it. We have to mention the wonderful Creddie moments in this episode. Freddie cheers Carly on as she tries to overcome the test, and it's really wholesome, and we also have Freddie saying, "Look at us, we're hot." But my favorite moment is when Carly keeps getting jealous of all the cool nicknames and memories Freddie has of his senior year. He tells Carly that the best memory of going to school was her, and the only nickname he needs is Mr. iCarly. So sweet, and that moment really makes the episode for me. This episode ends with Spencer revealing to Carly and Freddie that he has 11 kids, and they are cliffhanger level shocked, mouths wide open. Those were the happenings in this episode, and I say we get straight into character spotlights, starting with Carly. Carly's move to Italy was a move that she didn't have full say in, and it came so abruptly, so naturally it came with consequences. And not only for her, but Sam left town, iCarly stopped, Freddie was unchained, and she missed out on a valuable senior year. All consequences that she still feels today, and very much so in this episode. We learn a lot about Carly in this episode, and one thing I thought was a sign of immaturity was her prejudice or assumptive state of mind. She assumed Freddie couldn't be popular and puts him down, and then does something very similar to Shane. It's just not a very likable quality for Carly, and one trend we see in iCarly is that Carly usually gets what she wants in the end. So she has a hard time dealing with not getting what she wants. An old example of this is when Spencer didn't let her go to the fight. Well, a bit of a rant there, but moving on, a few more quick fire things about Carly in this episode. Carly is not in good physical shape. She went to Ridgeway from K to 11th grade and some 12th as well, and 69 is her favorite number. We learn a lot about who Carly is in this episode. This is definitely one to note down for Carly's character development. Next, Mr. iCarly, Freddie. Freddie in the original showed signs of becoming confident and popular in the final season of the original iCarly, so it makes full sense with Carly and Sam gone, Freddie could flourish, and he did. It's great to see that after the worst night of his life in Italy, upon returning to school he had plenty of friends and good times. I wonder if he had any girlfriends in that senior year. Surely he had a prom date. Either way, I want to know more. I have to also mention that Freddie is just spot on with every interaction with Carly. He's just such a romantic. Next character, oh dear, Spencer. The implications of what we've learned in this episode are crazy, like enough so to reconsider everything Spencer has gone through thus far in this universe. I really am going to need some time to soak it in. This expansion of the Shea biological family can definitely seep in and out of the story, with Carly and Freddie also becoming eventual uncle and aunt to these kids. I'll definitely be coming back to this later this week, but we also have to mention what seems like a new romantic interest for Spencer, and I have a good feeling about this one. Can't wait to see where this goes with his fire-harnessing daughter, Potter. Last character I want to spotlight today, briefly, is Millicent. Millicent lied to her dad about volunteering, turns out she had detention, and we get to see some parenting from Carly and Freddie, a potential sneak peek into what that relationship will look like. Also, Millicent not knowing how a camera works, that was pretty accurate. We now move into the juiciest part of the review. Easter eggs, some analysis, and final takeaways in that order. I've been sprinkling the Easter eggs a little bit here and there in this review already, so I'll make this brief. There was a lot of talk about Italy in this episode, and this gap that we've been filling between 2013 and 2021, we're slowly starting to fill that one out more and more, and now we have a much fuller picture. The Mount Spencermore catching on fire is not only a callback to all of Spencer's fire incidents, but it's also the second time he recreated a national American building that has burned, with the White House marshmallow incident being the first, which was off camera. On the topic of Spencer, we also get to see another spaghetti taco, which looked delicious. We also get to see the glorious return of the expression chiz, which is perfectly timed for our back to school episode. This episode was also one of the first in the revival to reinforce the existing idea that there are supernatural elements in this world, with Potter setting fire to the monument by touching it and Malika disappearing into thin air. Lots of Easter eggs, but the others I have mentioned previously, like for example the returning characters and the matching hallways. Now, analysis and final takeaways, let's get these brains working. First, a minor thing. I get the comedic effect of it, but does Shane really need to be put on a stretcher? Definitely not. Second, and this one is a biggie, how come no one congratulates Carly and Freddie on being a couple? Not even Principal Franklin, who knows their long history. I think this episode also really carries the point home that iCarly is a thing of the past. Back then, they got millions of live stream viewers, and the school was always very up to date with what was happening in the streams. But now, 50k viewers at most, and the school doesn't even really pay attention to Carly. Not saying that she should get special treatment, but still. Finally, the final takeaway, and the one I'm most passionate about, we got a mention of Sam, one that explains that she dipped after Carly left to Italy, also reinforcing the events of Sam and Kat, so that's great, but here's what ticks me off, and it's really starting to get odd. How could they not mention Gibby in an episode like this? A, why is he not there? B, he would naturally be Freddie's best friend at the school after Carly and Sam leave. C, why does nobody else even mention him? All the way back in I'm Cursed, Principal Franklin delivers birthday letters to Carly and Freddie, but how about Sam and Gibby? How did he know not to go looking for them? God, well, I'm ranting again, but I can understand that Sam isn't there, as she wasn't there for senior year, but Freddie implies that Gibby was there, as he says that Sam and Carly left, blah blah, but he doesn't include Gibby in that group that left. Anyway, I hope the writers have something planned that makes this all make sense, that they can't mention Gibby yet, otherwise this is a wasted opportunity. There is so much to talk about in an episode like this, but at some point I have to pull the plug and say I have to start editing this so you guys can get this episode relatively soon after you watch the episode, but a few things first I'd like to mention. First, let's continue to retweet this tweet from Nathan Kress. I really want to see this playlist. It would be really fun to go through it with you guys. We need to get to 10,000. B, the channel has a Discord where we have lots of discussions about these episodes, and the more people join, the more fun it is. C, shout out to Sarah and Corey for supporting the channel as Third Wind superfans. If you want to support the channel, you can join the Third Wind Nation. Click the join button to learn all about the fun perks that you can get for supporting the channel. And lastly, I always love all of your questions, so make sure to leave them in the comments. Of course, I'll answer a bunch of them in this week's upcoming Q&A. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Creddie for Revy, and I'll see you in the next video.